Hello, hello. I am Cassie Brown, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Amplify My Impact podcast. After years of consulting and managing programs for some of the top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers in the industry, I am on a mission to expand our contribution, to grow, scale, and create more so we can do and give more. This podcast celebrates entrepreneurs who are boldly stepping up to own their calling, expand their influence, and stretch outside their comfort zone, who've decided to stop playing it small, pick up the mantle of contribution, and serve at a higher level to lead by example and light the way for others. If that's you, then get ready to amplify. There's a fire that burns inside your soul, and we're going to ignite it into a roaring blaze of unstoppable momentum. Everybody's here. I'm really, really excited just to kind of not only share what you guys are doing and your journey and all of that good stuff, but just to get to know all you guys on a deeper level. I don't know. Have I met Kristen? Did I get to meet her at FHL? What was she
You
there?
might have, and she was also on, you were on the cruise, right?
Yeah,
and the brain is like bonkers. Yep, they were on the 2 cruise. You'll probably recognize her as soon as you see her.
Okay.
And yep, and then she was at FHL.
Yes, I do remember.
Cool.
Yes.
What's the weather like for you, Cassie? Is it pretty crazy over there? Is it doing all right?
It's overcast. For a couple days, it was really nice and sunny, and they got to play in the pool. And then the last couple days, it's been rainy and cold, and so today's kind of cold. But spring, It keeps on creeping in and then deciding to roll it back a little bit. So
I know we had snow last night. I was like, what the heck?
What?
Nicole, did your house get snow last night?
It did. Hi, Cassie. I'm Nicole.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I looked out the window and I thought, oh, we've had some cherry blossoms blooming. And I thought, oh, they're all blowing away. And I was like, that's a lot of blossoms. That's snow. Crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
That's nuts. Yeah.
What was the average temperature before it started to snow?
It was
cold.
Beautiful. I thought we were outside doing projects, and I don't know, I'm maybe like 50 degrees-ish, maybe a little bit more. Where are you at?
Yeah.
I am just north of Atlanta, so I'm in Cumming, Georgia.
Fun.
So,
it looks like Kirsten.
Hey, there you are.
I'm trying to hook up my microphone, and of course I don't know how to do it because I've never done it. I mean, I've never done it down here because we're always recording, so I don't think I hooked it up right, but whatever.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, but I've recorded where so on the Yeti it has a little blinking light, and when I first got it I thought I just plugged in the USB and then I started to go, and then I realized I never even turned it on.
Oh.
I'm so bad with tech stuff.
Well, Toby's awesome, so he can swoop in for your rescue.
I know, and he's on the phone working and he can't help me right now. Yeah, I know, that was embarrassing. I pop in, I'm because I was trying to get it set up and you're on your.
I know, I did too. I'm so sorry.
No. You guys were fine. We had a back-to-back today. So, and I didn't even think sometimes.
I just figured it was a different link. So I was no, let's get on and set up early.
You were fine.
I don't think I got that here.
Toby.
I didn't get the. Anyway, whatever. Oh yeah, we'll do without. I didn't hook it up.
That's funny. It reminds me. So my husband is kicking me out of my office on Friday, and then he already said again, on April 23rd, he's I have more meetings, so I need the office. So I've got to figure out something. But that'll be fun. That's new problems, right?
I know.
It's so hard because I normally my kids are at school. And so I have quiet time, and now they're running around, teenagers, or they get in a fight, and then Toby's trying to work, and then normally I would escape to the design center to work, and now I'm anyway, but yeah, I guess we're all adjusting.
I know. My biggest offender these days is the 5-year-old. I think she's just getting stir crazy, and she's really tired and dealing with stress in different ways. But she's the one picking all the fights. I'm you've got to stop this.
Yeah. So how old are your kids?
So 5, 9, 12, and 14.
Oh my gosh, we
So-
have the exact same age of kids, Cassie. I didn't know.
I didn't know that. I knew they were close. I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
exact.
Oh, well, I will say bless your heart with the two youngest boys, because like we found out really quick why everybody was asking us, why are they so close in age? And we were just too young to like to really know. Like I didn't have an answer, but now I realize what people were asking us. Like, yeah, that was, they're 18 months apart. And it's like, yeah, that was a little crazy.
Yeah, that's like my boys and my daughter. It's funny.
And you're from Georgia, you said?
Yeah, originally from Florida.
Okay.
Originally from Jacksonville, Florida, right on the Florida-Georgia line. So that's where my accent comes from. It's a really
Okay.
small country town. And I feel like I'm finally at home when we moved to Georgia, where my accent isn't the worst in town. So, so it's interesting. But so I'm really, really so thankful that you guys are all here. And I have to thank Toby for helping me set everything up, because I just told him, like, I really want to highlight not only what you guys are doing as moms, but in the role that we play as, stepping into the roles of the gifts and talents that God gives us. But on another level, you guys are collaborating together as a group on this project. And I just think it's so inspiring. And I'm really, like, this year alone, I'm really on a mission to highlight people who are coming together for a collective purpose and working together, because it's not always the easiest thing to do. Like, there's a ton of different personalities and family schedules and things to manage and coordinate. And so a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction could be like, it's just way too much effort, I'll just do it on my own. So I'd love to do some quick introductions and then like just kind of get y'all's, a little bit of backstory on each one of you and how you ended up here, and then what it means to collaborate together on what you guys are working on.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so Kristen, do you want to go first with your introduction?
Yeah, so it's pronounced Kirsten. I know.
Oh my
everyone,
gosh!
it's okay. No worries. I get that all the time. And so how we got here. So I met the girls actually I met Nicole first through church, and then worked with her as a client. And then she introduced me to Colette, and started working with Colette. And we've been working together for over 2 years on her home, and just kind of got to know her and love her. And then, of course, like all of us, most of us have gone to Russell's events. And so I was at an event with my family this summer, and just hearing Russell talk about how everyone has a story to share. And I had gone to ClickFunnels before, and it was kind of one of those things where everybody has their first moment there and they're like, oh, it's a marketing event. Like, I'm just there with my husband, And then I know I have something to share, but I didn't really know how to share it. And I didn't really want to. I felt like so many people already do podcasts specifically for their work. And since my work is interior design, I just was like, I just don't want an interior design podcast. I mean, I just felt like, I don't know. I wanted to do something that was a little bit deeper and a little more meaningful, if that makes sense. And so then when I went in Denver, he's just kept talking about podcasting and writing your stories. And I was like, I was just thinking of all these amazing women in my life and how fun that would be to kind of do a project together. So you get more than one point of view and one personality and one, so you have different viewpoints, and everyone's families are different and everyone's struggling. And I felt like there was a missing piece to a lot of podcasts, because I have been an avid podcast junkie for quite a while now. And I felt like there wasn't really any that just had real moms that not necessarily were in the workforce or had this big, amazing business, but not just somebody that was just real and just doing their thing and being a mom. So that was kind of where it started. And then, I talked to Colette about it and asked if she might be interested. I know that she has a lot to share and a lot of people want to hear from her. And then we I knew Nicole would be amazing. Just her personality is, I feel like Nicole's personality, she's the entertainer, she's outgoing and bubbly, and I feel like we're all so different in our personalities that it would kind of be a good match. So that was kind of, I think that's kind of how we started, right?
Totally.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. So you asked Colette first. Okay. So Colette, can you do your quick introduction? And I just have to say, like, I am so grateful that you guys like took her up on this offer. And it's one of those things where it's like, I think you realize once you start speaking and sharing that a lot of stuff we do internalize, and just having a conversation with another mom or another woman and seeing that shift in perspective and sharing that different viewpoint, it helps us breathe a little bit easier. So Colette, yeah, your turn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm Colette Brunson. I'm married to Russell Brunson, and it's been a wild ride and a fun journey to go on this entrepreneurial adventure and things like that. And so through his life, I just feel like I've been, well, and then my dream truly has been just wanting to be a mom. And I've been blessed to be able to stay home with my children. So I have 5 children, ranging from 4 all the way down to 14, all the way down to 5. And they are my job. They are my life and my everything. And ever since some of my childhood things, I just had this dream of just wanting to be the best mom. And it's hard. And now that we're on quarantine, it's even harder because you're like, oh my gosh, all the fun things you try and come up with. But yeah, and then fast forward all of these years later down the road, and Russell and the world that he lives, I feel like I kind of been blessed in many ways to be introduced to so many amazing people. And then just trying to rediscover myself and find my voice again. And so when Kirsten asked me to be a part of this podcast, I jumped on it. And I usually say no to a lot of things and shoot it down fast, just because it makes me nervous to be vulnerable and put yourself out there. And of course, just with the amount of people that follow Russell, I didn't want to be, it's not funny, I didn't want to embarrass him in any way if I was to say something or do something. But it's a pretty big crowd that follows him. And so I just was really, really scared, but at the same time, super excited, because at different events or when we're out traveling and people stop us, they always ask how in the heck I do it. And so when Kirsten approached me, I said, that would be so much fun to try and find my voice, try and figure out and be confident in myself, and this rediscovering of who I am. So it's been lots of fun to work with Kirsten and Nicole, and we're friends initially, so we have lots of time together, but it's been really fun to get to know each other on a different level through podcasting. And it's fun. They cheer me on, they build up my confidence, and anyway, it's fun.
Oh, when you talk about that vulnerability, and when Kirsten shared, like, I just didn't want to create another podcast. That's sort of where I was at with, originally when I created the podcast, it was Brace for Impact. And it's a reflection of like where I was at in my life, where I was like, I want to serve, but in order to serve, I have to put myself out there, and it's crazy uncomfortable. So I'm like, you're at this point of resistance where you're fighting. And so I love that you guys found that strength and that peace in each other, to kind of like help you take those bold steps forward, and just to create something that isn't just a run of the mill business podcast meant to, we're all familiar with the marketing, like it's meant for lead generation. It's meant for one thing, my goal is to sell you at the end. And that was I didn't want that either. I really wanted to inspire. I wanted to help people gain confidence in sharing their message, and make them realize that, they have a unique purpose, and everyone's voice matters, and what you're doing in your life and your business has an impact, no matter if it's just literally impacting the person that you look at in the mirror, your immediate family, or you are creating this huge business that's being able to grow and create that ripple effect. So I'm so glad that you said yes, because I've always enjoyed our conversations when I get to see you at the events. And I think every one of you are just so unique and inspiring. And I hope it inspires more people to realize like that there are situations in life that they go through that are worth sharing. and that what they say does matter. So, okay, Miss Nicole, I am so excited to hear.
You're so sweet. So I'm Nicole Goggins, and great friends with these girls. And I feel privileged to have made Kirsten's list. Really, while she was talking about that, I'm like, oh, good, I made her list. And like Colette, when she pitched it to me, I had a completely different feeling than I have when, I felt pressured into doing something else, and it felt right, and something like I wouldn't want to do on my own, but having the three of us to kind of like share the workload and just to be able to do it with each other has been really great. And we kind of all have our different strengths and we all do our own thing, but just to have these other people to like bounce ideas off of has been so nice. But like my favorite part of all of this has been feeling like I actually have a purpose. Like I'm a mom and I love that. And that is my job and that's what I want to do. But to know that I can actually contribute something back to the world also, and to like encourage other people to share and to be vulnerable and to just be themselves. And I don't know, I think I've just gotten so caught up in, if I don't have like an actual job and I'm not working and doing something, that maybe the world may not see it as valuable, but I feel like my kids love it and they love to think like, oh, tell me what episode you're doing this week and how many have you done? And Mom, that's so cool that you're on the radio. They think I'm on the radio. And so it's just been really fun for me. But the thing that I've loved the most is hearing everybody's stories and hearing how it all comes down to the same thing, that they didn't think that anybody else had ever went through something like this. And they didn't, if they could have heard somebody else, how they got through losing their child or losing their husband or losing their job or whatever it was, that would have strengthened them at that time. And to know that hopefully this can help other people. And, when we share our own stories, it helps heal us too, right? And it's like that, it's just a version of our own therapy. And so it's been so awesome for me. Like I've gotten so much more out of this than I ever thought that I would, really.
I love it. I love it. So I really just sort of, I know there's four of us on the call and this is the first time that we've had a group of people. And for those of you who are listening to the podcast, like it was really, really important just to show the unification and the way that you guys linked arms and just doing it together. I think there's a lot of people who think like they're traveling this road alone, or Nicole, like what you said, like I'm the only one going through this. And the more that we share, the more that we speak up, the more that we're sort of bold and vulnerable and share those little moments. For me, I didn't realize how important it was because I had a lot of one-on-one questions. And as soon as, especially with what we went through with my husband. So for those of you who don't know the story, Adam was diagnosed with a brain tumor 8 years ago. And it was a really rough time. And internally, like I was processing a lot. And so like I went through a ton of like self-processing development, but like if I would have had someone to talk to that was like, you're going to get angry, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to cuss, you're going to be mad at God, you're going to like, I carried so much guilt for so many years because I felt like on one end I needed to be, and I did, I had like, all we had was hope and faith at some points in time. So we had that. It wasn't like we ran away or rejected it, but like you do wrestle with those emotions. And I think if I would have known that's sort of like the cycle of grieving and coming to terms with reality, I think I would have carried a lot less guilt. Because as soon as I did open up and start talking to somebody about it, because I felt so guilty, like I'm like, God, I don't want them to ever know how I felt inside, but I just had person after person after person telling me like, you're handling this with so much grace and faith. And like, I finally got to the point where it's like, no, I'm not. Like, this is hard. And I have doubted and I was angry and that was so hard. But as soon as I shared it, it was like a sigh of relief, like collective relief went across everybody. Cause it was like, thank God, because you were making it look like, just put 100% of your faith and everything like it. And I don't ever want to be like a tripping stone to someone else, for them to think something might be easier than it might be. So,
We
what
definitely, I was going to
I
say,
was
we
going to say,
definitely need to
please
have
just
you.
jump in
We need to
and
have you on our podcast too, because you have an amazing story. So, yeah, we definitely want to have you on. So we'll get that. But what I
yeah,
was just going to say is that another thing that was going through my mind was, we all believe in like journaling, and like, I've always heard the saying, like, if our grandparents would have just journaled, there would be no reason for therapy. And I feel like podcasting in some ways is like a virtual or type of journaling. And so I feel like by talking and getting our stories out there, it's like we're, like you said, we're helping other women. And then also going back to like feeling alone, like I remember I was a stay-at-home mom for like 10 years and I felt like there was no podcasting, there was no outlet. And so I feel like podcasting is such an amazing platform to be able to help so many people that might be at home and don't have any resources for therapy, or don't have any connection with friends, or don't have the things that a lot of us have. And so, yeah, like you said, I just think I've used podcasting to help me through so many of my hard times too. And just knowing, like you said, that you're not alone. So
yeah. So, just definitely share, like, if you guys want to share some of your favorite stories or how you decide, because I think it's fascinating, because, women get a bad rap for working together, and like how difficult or how stubborn we can be, or this or that. Like, the jokes are endless, but
yeah.
you guys are making it work, and you have such a unique, I think, just the personality of the brand, and sharing her journey, and just the mission of it in general. Like, so how does it work? How do you guys decide who's going to be on, and all of that good stuff?
Sorry. Well, I think all of us know, like, we kind of have started with just like the amazing women that we know personally in our lives and that surround us. And then, and just, I think the more we've talked, the more we've learned about other people close to us. And then the more you dive deep, you find out there's even more to their journey that you even, had no idea. And even just with us personally, like the three of us, the more we've shared our stories, people have come to us and shared their stories. And so I think it's just kind of like a trickle effect. We definitely have had people want to be on our podcast that we feel like it's more business, and we want more their story. Like, oh, that's amazing that you have this business and you're doing great things, but we want to know, like, what is your story, not just your business. So I think that's kind of how we've been approaching it, is more like, what's your journey? And we've tried to find women of all different, stories, like stay-at-home moms, people just working part-time, people that have a business, just all different types. So that's kind of how we've been doing it. And just kind of finding our groove. Yeah.
I like what Kirsten said, especially the business part. I think a lot of people think that this could be like a selling platform. Like, I'm going to come on here and now you'll want to tell everybody to come to us, which is great. And I feel like that's a great side effect of it. But most people, when they start a company or start selling a product or something, it's because they felt like there was a need for that. And where did that stem from? And so that's where we're like, no, tell us the story. I'm going to just use this as an example, but the lady that we interviewed all about digital marketing and digital protection for your family. Our interview wasn't with her, like, tell us all the services that you can provide for people, but like, what were the traumatic events in your home that happened because of internet safety that caused you to want, this? And then you get like that feeling, and that's when you connect with people. So that's kind of one thing that I've loved the most of this is we need that connection, and we need to feel connected. And that's when we feel connected is when we can relate to somebody else. Right. And so, like, I've been there and I felt that. And so I've just felt like that's been really neat, but it's been amazing. So many of my friends, when we started, I'm like, oh, and you're going to be on our podcast, and you're going to be on our podcast. And they've said, like, oh, I don't have anything to share. I'm like, Yeah, you do. Everybody has so many things, and it doesn't have to be some big thing like I had brain cancer and I beat that, but so many little things that's what makes us who we are, right?
Yeah, totally. I was going to say that same thing because I think everyone's stories matters. Even someone if they feel like they don't have a story or it's boring. Because I went through a lot of my life feeling that way because I was really fortunate enough to grow up in the church. I'm Southern Baptist, and I'm still dealing with a little bit of the humble and meek and that connotation where it's like, can a leader be bold and loud and humble at the, so like I'm dealing with all of that right now as we do step out and try to amplify the message. But like up until Adam's diagnosis, I felt like my testimony was like pretty darn boring. Like I felt like I was really, really blessed that I had a great family. I went to school. I married my high school sweetheart. And I felt like I was constantly always waiting for that other shoe to drop. Like, and I don't know, maybe I was mentally prepared in a way, but like not in that way. I would have taken a million other choices besides the diagnosis, but it was just like, I think sometimes people are just waiting, like what is going to go wrong? And what internal anxieties is that, unleashing? And then what you guys are tackling too is like the unification of all types of mothers, the working moms, the stay-at-home moms, the women who maybe have adopted and haven't been able to have children. Like, it's just, I feel like I love what you guys are doing so much because you're just sharing and you're providing a platform for people to have that connection and realize like no one way is the right way, and no job or service or business is more valuable than the next. Like everything that you pour into this world means something.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that just made me think of like too, just making everyone feel like they have value. I think that so many women struggle with value, like feeling they're important and feeling that they have meaning and feeling that they're, like they're somebody. So just making them feel that they're somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is making me try and figure out my value.
Oh my
for me,
gosh, you have so much value.
Well, you know what I mean, though. It's just like, but like doing it and sharing stories and having these amazing people on, I don't know, it's just funny because it is easy to talk ourselves down in the self-confidence world and everything like that. So I think it's really important for all of us to see the value that we have to offer, no matter the size of it. And I loved when Nicole said that. I thought that really hit a good point, but that's me. I feel like I'm just trying to learn, refigure it out. And I love it. And I don't know, it's such a big blessing. And I'm so thankful that Kirsten had this idea, and I feel so honored to be a part of it. So it's been lots of fun.
That is awesome. So are you guys up for sharing some of your favorite stories so far that you've experienced through the podcast?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like people that we've interviewed or our own personal stories?
I am up for anything. Kirsten in particular, like you tackled something huge when you shared the story of your hysterectomy and everything like that. Like that was bold and vulnerable. And I mean, of course I get Toby's side of it too. And he's just incredibly funny. He has one of the best senses of humor ever. But like, I just saw that and I was like, holy smokes, like, this is incredible.
Well, yeah, I think for me, I mean, a little more background. I grew up, I was always like, I have to be perfect, right? I'm the oldest daughter, oldest girl. I have to do everything right. And I always felt like I had to have that image. And if I was going through a hard time, I always had to hide it. And unless I was always pro therapy, but unless I talked to my therapist, I just had to keep it inside. And I felt like the more I started just being open and just being like, yeah, this is my life and this is my problems, I felt it made me stronger. And like I said, it made me form more connections. And so like when we first shared our breast implant illness story too, like I would have died to even share that story probably 2 years ago. Even when I first got my implants, I didn't want anyone to know that I did that because it was like, it was just like a superficial, like I felt superficial. Why did I do this? And I felt bad about it. And I felt, but then once all of it happened and I started talking to people about it, honestly, like when I talked to our mutual friend, Micheline, about it, even then it was hard. I was like, yeah, this is what happened to me. And, but it just kind of started slow. And then like the more people I talked to, the more comfortable I felt. And then the more I felt like I was getting positive feedback and it was helping me, it was helping them. And like with my hysterectomy, it was like same thing. I'd been struggling with horrible pain for like 3 years. And I felt like I had just kept it all in. And it literally was making me, like, I was just like dying. Like I just was trying to be normal, but in pain, not having answers. And then, oh, guess what happens? I start talking about it and I hear another friend who, exact same situation, exact same problems. Kirsten, it will change your life if you get one. And I was like so scared because it was such a big surgery and a big decision. And yeah, I just learned that like when I talk about my problems, I also receive the help that that I need. And so it just encouraged me to just keep talking about it, even though it's not easy. And I feel like now it's still not even easy, like to talk about stuff, but I think the more you do it, the easier it gets. That makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It does. I thought of the same thing. I was so scared to share a breast implant illness one, and mine was much newer. And it was because Kirsten talked about her story that somebody told me, oh, you need to talk to Kirsten. And so she wouldn't have done that. But just like her, I hadn't even told anybody really that I had them. I mean, as the years went on, I did, but I was so afraid to talk about all of it. And I've had so many people come to me since I've started sharing and said, because you shared that, it has made such a difference for me. And I didn't know that this was a thing. And then you can turn them on to the different resources that we've used and we kind of talked about in that podcast. But that was the scariest one for me to share, just the feeling that I could be judged from it, right? My reasons for doing it and people judging me for wanting to take them out, that's stupid. And why do you think that this silly thing that millions of people have is causing this? And so, yeah, just that fear of judgment and just needing to be vulnerable. But I felt like I grew the most sharing that because it was what was so hard to do. But I wanted to say probably my favorite interview that we've done that we haven't actually aired yet. Her name was Molly Bice Jackson, and she shared the story about her almost 2-year-old daughter choking and dying, and her grieving process through that. It really has just touched my heart. And the way that she's grieved has been by connecting with other people and sharing, she called it speaking her unspeakable, and sharing that grief and connecting with people has saved her life. And it was very moving for me. So that was on mine.
Oh, yeah, wow. I agree. Because I think for me, I was thinking that too. I was thinking of the ones that talk about their children. Molly Flick, that was talking about seizures and her, the way that they've dealt with all of their journey. And then, my gosh, losing your child. It really does. It puts things in perspective, but it's really amazing because even with Molly, she started that Facebook page and it was just for her family. And then all of a sudden it turned into this big old group for people to go and get connection with that same, the same issues. And I don't know, it's just really inspiring. Those unspeakable angels, they're just out there and you share and then you become an angel for somebody else. And that's by far my favorite as well.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Do you guys as you're progressing in this journey, like this is like a new chapter of your life. Is it easier to kind of are you are you noticing those pulls and those nudges a little bit faster? Like, I need to talk to, like, I feel called to talk about this and share a little bit more open, like, whereas before it could be a little bit more resistant and easy, like, because we created that pattern of just like pushing it down and burying it. And like, I'm not going to address this. So is it getting easier to kind of answer those little nudges and calls?
I think so. I mean, even just this week, we interviewed Colette and she shared her whole story about her dad. And I know that wasn't easy for her. But Colette, do you feel like you would have been able to speak as openly about that even a while ago, just to complete strangers?
No way. In fact, my mom just messaged me and she's like, oh my gosh, I was just listening to that and you did so good. Because it's funny when you do talk about stuff and you bring it up and I
family.
felt like I was everywhere. And but yeah, just to share that. And then the funny part about that whole thing is my mom, she's like, please don't talk about me on the podcast. I'm like, you're my rock, Mom. I'm not going to say that, whatever.
That's so funny.
But
yeah, I feel like another one of our favorite, or my favorite, was Jen with Jen But
Yes.
But I feel like it was the body image thing. And I feel like I think it's just so relatable. Like, so many women have body image issues. And so I feel like that just was really connected it with so many people. And then just asking ourselves why do women have such a big problem? Just opening that conversation.
Yes.
Helps all of us. Like, it made me look at myself too. Like, why am I so hard on my body? Like, so I think it's, I think Colette and Nicole probably could agree. Like, when we talk to these women, it makes us kind of reevaluate like what we're thinking about ourselves.
I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And so much. I feel privileged that I'm the one that edits them, so I get to listen to them again and again. And I'm the one that I get to take notes. And I feel like I seriously learned so much. And so many of the people have like maybe written a book about their experience. And so then we get to read those. And yeah, like maybe we went into this thinking we could help other women by sharing stories, but like it has blessed my life. And I wouldn't have been able to hear all of these and experience this learning and that love and that compassion with other women. So it's been a huge blessing. It's only been 6 months.
And also besides my husband, like, I feel like we've pretty much done it on our own. Like, Nicole's amazing, been our amazing editor. And I love that we're just like doing our own thing. And because we're all like, this is also new to all three of us. And so we're just like learning along the way. And I think it's created a lot of growth in myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you guys all right if we take a little turn down that path, like talk about some of those things? Cause I think like when I was first starting out and publishing was something like when I talked about resistance, like I did not want to push go live. I was worried about my Southern accent. I was worried about the judgment that Nicole mentioned, like all of this type of stuff. So, when you guys are first setting this up, like you don't need any more like little road bumps, like the technical issues or so how, like, walk us through like, the lessons that you've learned. And it seems like to me, like if nothing else, you guys have learned just to fully step into it and trust and embrace that imperfection, because that's part of the journey.
God, I don't know. I think that, so you want to hear just about some of our
Nicole, you've got some new mad skills that you've learned, some
editing. I have learned things. But I think that, yes, my main thing that I was so nervous about, I think before we started, was what do we have to share that anybody would want to listen to? Why are we anything special that somebody that maybe has a degree in something or whatever could share so much better than us? And so that was probably my main insecurity about coming into it, but realizing that when we develop more, that we want to share that we are just real women going through real everyday problems, and our kids annoy us just as much as your kids probably annoy you. And we're not trying to pretend like we live these perfect lives with these perfect, dinners on the table every day. And so sorry, maybe I turned a little bit weird, but that was probably my main thing, but that was how we overcame that. But then also I feel like probably Colette felt this more, and she kind of alluded to it, but that we don't know what we're doing and we suck at first. We really suck. And I feel like we've changed a lot, but I was mentioning Colette just because, yeah, has such a big platform, and Russell knows what he's doing, and people look to him and they listen to him, and they probably expect that his wife would have all these things and that Russell would probably build this big funnel and make it huge or whatever it was. I don't know. But that we wanted to do this just, on our own and just figure it out little by little, and reading blogs on how do you set this up and how do you edit that and how do you push play, and yes, how scary it is to push go live for the first time, and how many times we had to retake our intros and all of that.
Well, it's just like I said, it's learning. Like, I just listened to Brene Brown's new podcast she just launched, and like her first episode, Brene Brown was sitting there saying that she redid her intro 20 times. And she was so nervous. And I'm like, this is Brene. So I think that's the thing, is just like hearing other people. And so I just felt like if there's a housewife home and she's thinking she has nothing, and she's, she doesn't work and she can't do these things. And then she sees us and she's like, oh, like maybe I can do other things, and maybe I can do something that I never dreamed I could do. And I just felt like if I could inspire someone that's regular like me, so that was kind of, I think, how I've grown, is just knowing that I am regular, but that's what makes me great, if that makes sense. And then I think even with Colette, like, people are always like, oh my gosh, Colette Brunson, because of Russell. But I think knowing that Colette is like this amazing, humble, kind person, like, I mean, people are surprised, I guess, not surprised, but like, they think that Colette isn't normal, where I'm like, she's so normal. Like, she's
so more normal than either of us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Colette, what do you think?
Coming into this, for sure, I was super duper hesitant, and you girls know that, just because I was getting all of this feedback. Of course, Mr. Russell was trying to help us with a couple of ideas, and I felt like I didn't want to disappoint anybody. And so I was like, oh my gosh, okay, if we go live, we're going live, and our voice is out there. And just all the feedback from everybody. I think in the beginning, that was the hardest part, is I did have a girlfriend come back because one particular podcast didn't speak to her personally. And the feedback was, at that moment in the season of her life, was also a little bit stressed out and hard. So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Like, and then trying to use the criticized feedback, but now we've become like one of her favorite podcasts, which makes me happy. Because sometimes I'm like, it really does. I think what fills my bucket the very most too, like going into this, because I have been super hesitant. You can ask the girls, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't post much ever, even on Instagram, Facebook, on my personal pages. And then to step up and try to do a story here or there and just really push myself has been a fun little adventure for me. But it's so good. It's so good. And I think the funniest part about it is I'm still stuck a little bit, just because I'm like, okay, I'm going to post today. I'm going to do this story. And then I'm like, oh, the day's over. I'm good. Everything's good. Yeah, I'm a regular person. We're all regular people. I think that's what I love most about it. Show up most days with no makeup and our yoga pants.
It's still scary, I think, no matter what. Like, being vulnerable, I don't feel like, just like the Brene Brown instance, I don't think you ever stop. Like, if you don't continue to keep doing hard things, you won't continue to grow. And it doesn't mean it's ever going to get easy or ever going to get comfortable. You're just going to keep growing, even if it's hard.
Yeah, I think that's such an incredible point, because it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not uncomfortable, are you really growing?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and as you guys were talking, and Colette, I can totally identify with that. And I'm an empath, so I'm super sensitive. So like if somebody, I had an episode where like the last quarter, business wise, was really, really good, like incredible momentum and this and that. And so like I was sharing that on the podcast and publishing and everything like that. And we did have some things going on family, but I was like sort of like the glass half full type of thing, where I'm like, I'm going to focus on the positive. And I had someone that I really love and care about, and it was starting to turn, the new year. And so, celebrate a new year and all of this type of stuff. How are you going to do? What are you going to, lead in your business with, in your life and all that. And I had someone message me, and it just absolutely broke my heart, because it's like, I really don't have a lot to celebrate right now. And it made me even more aware, where it was like, okay, internally, I went through this shift where it was like, yeah, my world's a little bit upside down, because we've got some stuff that we're handling with our kids, and it is stressful, and it's, a little wild, but I'm going to focus on the positive, and I'm going to stay grateful for what I have. And so that's what I was leading with. And then I just sort of like felt like I left a little bit like lacking, where I should have been like, here's the deal. Like, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Like, everyone has certain points of those peaks and the valleys in their life. And so like, I totally understand what you're saying. And when someone came and they were like, but this was hurtful, or this is the way I received it. 'Cause it makes you more just cognizant of every word that you say and everything that you present. And we have to be careful towing that line, because we can't always be everything to everybody. But I think if we show up fully authentic and like really sharing from that vulnerable state, like, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's where the true inspiration really lies. Because I love that it came full circle, where you're like, and now we're her favorite podcast. Like, I just, that level of responsibility becomes real as you start speaking out and realizing, holy heck, people are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Holy heck, they are listening.
Yeah, my dad.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
My dad listens. He's like, I've learned some new things about you. But I think like and kind of embarrassing too, but like, I think how beautiful would it be like to have like your kids and your children be able to hear their mother's voice, like, and hear her struggles. I think it would be amazing. Like, I would love that. I talked about my grandma at one point, that she was such an inspiration to me in my life. And I think all of us have had amazing grandmothers in our lives, and how I would pay huge money if I could hear her speaking and telling her struggles and her journeys right now, and her, hearing her heart from her heart. And so I'm like, if this is something I can, if my kids one day want to hear what a hot mess their mom was, like, they can listen to it. But I think that's also the other thing I love about you, Cassie, is like, I felt like when I met you, like, I felt like I could feel your authenticity. Like, I could feel, like Colette, you can probably attest to this, at those events, like, so many people you can tell are just not really real. And I could just tell that you were like real and had a good heart, and, were a good person. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same way about you guys. Like, I'm just super blessed, and I do totally know what you're, that is one thing, like, my BS detector over the last couple of years has gotten really, really, really good. And I made a commitment, like, to not let other people's action or the way that they view the world change me. I just need to get better about seeing something coming and being more aware of it, but not letting it change the way that I step up and serve and treat people. So as we wrap up, where do you guys want to see, like, what's the mission for the rest of the year with sharing her journey? Like, has it increased? Has it gotten bigger? Like, what does it look like?
Is this me?
Yes.
Well, I think we're still kind of like learning and growing as we go, I feel like. And like Colette said, trying to all find our voice and trying to find our passion and not getting wrapped up in, I think, the hard things right now that are going on in the world. And but I think we want to continue to share and continue to try to impact women. We did just start a Facebook group that we're trying to, we want to grow that, and we want to be able to just like put our arms around other women and know that they're not alone. And so I guess just to share, we want to continue to share that mission and continue to help other women.
Awesome. And what is the Facebook group? So we can share it on the podcast here.
It's just sharing her journey. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So go to Facebook. I'm in there, and I love when you guys do the updates. And I think it is, I love and this is the first time I've gotten to spend a lot of time with Nicole, but like with the way that she posts, it's like Nicole here. And I'm making your energy and the voice like come across the screen and the writing. And like, that's how, and exactly how I envisioned you is how you showed up. So it was just really, really cool to see that.
Well, thank you. I like the Facebook group as well. So there's just our group our page, right? You can like that, but then this is to join our group, and this is a private group, and we're hoping to have a lot of just great community on there and a lot of people just sharing what's happening in their lives. And then I know that people need that connection, and especially women and kind of the demographic that we appeal to. That's where they find their virtual friends, is through things like Facebook groups. And, maybe we even have like virtual meet-ins, or even, hey, who's from Boise or who's from Florida? Maybe you guys all meet at a coffee shop and create relationships. So we're really at the very beginning stages of that Facebook group and what kind of potential it has. But we also will have, our guests will give us kind of bonus things, and we can put those into the Facebook group and different tools and things that they work on. And so it's just kind of a really cool place that we would love to have women in and growing and sharing together. Like, we are facilitating this and we're starting conversations, but we want these women to finish them and to be able to put their arms around each other, and not just us putting our arms around them. I mean, which we want to do, but just create that community, right?
We actually have some really great toolbox pieces that we're adding to our Facebook group too. Like, I'm really excited about, like, Holly Flick gave us these amazing digital cards that she uses to help her in her life. I'm so excited for those. And then we have like Body Boss gave us Body Love Boss. She gave us some other amazing tools to learn how to love your body. And so we are going to be putting, like, when we have our amazing guests that come on, they're sharing with us part of themselves, and part of that we're going to share with our community that joins. And so we have some really fun things that we're going to be adding to that Facebook page for our community that I'm excited about.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. It's just opening doors and starting the conversation, and just inviting them to step through and just grow alongside you. And I love that you guys touched on essentially teaching them to identify with themselves as a leader, as being able to make those decisions and to have that courage. So if there are any final thoughts, like if there's one thing for someone listening, like a woman listening, that you would want them to hear, like the one message that you would just like shake them and just be like, you've got to listen to this, what would it be?
Well, I'll share mine really quick. Oh, Colette, do you want to go?
No, you go ahead, Nicole.
I was just going to say that you are heard, and that you are seen, and that you are understood, and that you have value, and that we have all felt all those feelings. And if we haven't felt them yet, we will feel them. And then we'll need you to help us during those hard times. That's my thing.
Thank you, Nicole.
I didn't even know. I want to ditto that. Like, seriously, you are seen, because I think it's a big deal to be able to view others through a different lens, and hopefully they can do the same. So you are seen and you are heard. I think that's beautiful, Nicole.
Yeah, I would just add to that, like, that we can do hard things. We can do hard things with courage. And even if you're in a really hard spot, just know that someone else has been there and you can make it through. So
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for spending time with us. I'm hopefully we can like kind of do a big cheer break. If everybody could just say goodbye and tell everyone thank you for staying with us. But thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out with us. The girls from Sharing Her Journey, please check out their podcast, their Facebook group. Like, they are absolutely amazing. Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank
It was so
you.
fun.
Bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've received value, encouragement, and exactly what you need to help keep you in momentum to grow and impact the world around you. Big or small, we all make a difference. Thanks also for subscribing, downloading, and leaving a review. This helps us reach others who need this message in their life. If you know anyone who would benefit from this podcast, please share so you and I can help more people boldly step into purpose. It is my heart's mission to help and encourage others. My internal belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. So much of what we talk about on the podcast is leading with value and building relationships through service. So we've created a collection of resources for you to continue growing, whether you are just getting started or ready to scale your business. Visit amplifymyimpact.com for show notes, downloads, programs, and more information about how to directly work with our team to amplify your impact and change the world.